Tired of big tech clashing with your Catholic values? Fide Chat is now live on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. It's private, encrypted, and built by Catholics for Catholics, with features like parental controls and more. Connect securely with family, friends, and groups. Download Fide Chat at fide.email. Technology without compromise.
Personnel is policy. Actions speak louder than words. And so we are now sitting in mid to late August. And the Pope, when he went on his vacation to Castel Gandolfo, we were told two things. The first was that he was going to be working on an encyclical, his first encyclical letter, and people have speculated what it will be about. AI seems to be the thing people tend to think it's going to be about, but I would suggest you pay attention to immigration as an issue, because he's had a lot to say about that, as well as to war. He could be doing a broader Catholic social teaching encyclical. He could also be doing one about internet voices. That'll tell us a lot when he does it, whatever he does. The other thing we were told he was going to do was make his personnel decisions. And personnel is policy. We will see, no unequivocally, the direction things will take. And my expectation is he's going to appoint a mixed bag of figures. Some will be good, some will be very not good. We may see a few voices or a few faces that we don't want to see retained, either retained or moved laterally to another position. I expect ambiguity will continue to reign under him, because that's all we've seen so far is ambiguity. Just look at how many times the Pope invokes synodality. And now we have this story. It seems that some of these appointments are getting just a little bit delayed. Not too surprised by that, not for any I don't trust him reasons, but this is a big decision he has to make, and these things take time. So the headline from Catholic Culture is, at the Vatican II, personnel is policy. It's written by Mr. Phil Lawler. Catholic Culture is an interesting Catholic news blog. I do recommend you check it out if you can. Phil and his wife also both have Substacks you can read for free on Substack. So you should go consider giving them your attention if you are of the mind to read articles occasionally on your own. This article is going to go over a few of the figures who are retiring. You're going to see a fair number of them are well past their retirement age. One I will tell you right now. Cardinal Arthur Roche is either 75 years old, which is the retirement age for bishops, or he's very close to it. Now, it's not uncommon for a cardinal in the Roman Curia to continue working to the age of 80. But it would be a good excuse, nonetheless, for the Pope to accept his resignation, because upon reaching 75, every bishop in the church has to submit their letter of resignation to the Holy Father. And it is, of course, the Holy Father's entire prerogative to accept or not their resignation. Now, the concept of a bishop emeritus is definitely a Vatican II novelty. There was no such thing in the church before Vatican II, and it led to a lot of problems. By the way, I was the other day, I'm talking about Vigano's letter about the bishop emeritus leading to the Pope emeritus confusion. Some of the more Benny-plenist position, these are figures who believe Benedict was the real Pope and Francis was not. They had actually invoked that too. So I just want to throw that correction out there. And thanks to Dr. Ed Maza and a few others for emailing me, reminding me of that. But on the topic at hand, the Pope is free to keep these men as long as he likes, or to accept their resignation. With that having been said, let's take a look at what's coming, because you're going to see, I think, in the next 6 weeks, these announcements start getting made. Mr. Lawler keeps it short. Quote, "The summer days are already dwindling. The sun is setting earlier and fall will soon be upon us. Rather than trying to read deep meanings into small papal gestures and anticipate what Pope Leo could do, we might consider the questions that will certainly confront him in September. To date, Pope Leo has played his cards close to his vestments, giving only occasional hints, sometimes contradictory, about what sort of initiatives he has in mind. We know that he is working on an encyclical, but we don't know the topic. We know that he has a background in canon law and has shown a preference for doing things by the book, without dramatic gestures. But now, as the supreme legislator of the church, he has the authority to change canon law. So let's be honest. Grand theories to the contrary notwithstanding, we don't know what the Pope is going to do. However, we can identify some of the important issues that will be sitting on his desk. At the Vatican, as in any organization, personnel is policy. After his election, Pope Leo confirmed all the leaders of the Roman Curia in their positions temporarily, keeping them in office while he took his bearings. Now he will certainly want to replace at least a few prefects who are already past retirement age. He may also want to replace a few whose views and or personalities clash with his own plans. This is all common sense, folks. Should go without saying, but we have to unfortunately reiterate the obvious at times. One important dicastery that will need a new prefect. The powerful dicastery for bishops was led before the conclave by Cardinal Prevost. He is no longer available, having moved into the apostolic palace. So as an aside, the prefect for the dicastery of bishops oversees things involving all the bishops, including apostolic visitations to them, like the kind Bishop Strickland received. The canceling of bishops would have gone through at least that office in some way. Whether then Cardinal Prevost will agreed with the decisions made by the Pope after his influence or not, we don't know. The selection of bishops would have gotten some input at least by Cardinal Prevost's office at the time. So a lot of these questionable bishops went through that office before they got promoted, with or without the blessing, of course, of the then Cardinal Prevost, because the ultimate decision maker there is the Holy Father. Several other prelates are well beyond retirement age of 75 and overdue for replacement. Here's where it could happen. He could stay or they could go. And here are your examples. Cardinal Michael Czerny, F.J., the prefect for the Dicastery for Integral Human Development, who is now 79. My vote is to just close that dicastery entirely. That's not going to happen. The Dicastery for Integral Human Development is a sustainable development, thermometer problem, carbon, all that other nonsense dicastery. Get rid of it. Downsize the Vatican, get rid of it. It serves no point. Then Cardinal Kevin Farrell, prefect for the Dicastery for Laity, Family, and Life, will be 78 on September 2nd. He was also been curiously close to scandals of which he has pleaded ignorance, and yet was chosen by Pope Francis to handle Vatican secrets. Pope Leo may want someone more perspicacious to act as Camerlengo and president of the Pontifical Commission for confidential matters. What he's referring here to is that Cardinal Kevin Farrell was roommates with Ted McCarrick. And when Ted McCarrick's problems were suddenly made very public, he was like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this. I didn't know. I was shocked, I tell you, that my roommate did all these evil things that I would have surely known about. I was shocked because I didn't know. Give me a break. And then Cardinal Marcelo Semeraro, prefect for the Dicastery for the Causes of Saints. Cardinal Arthur Roach, prefect of the Dicastery for Divine Worship. That's the man most directly responsible for Traditionis Custodes other than Pope Francis. Has become a lightning rod for criticism. Yep. Cardinal Kirk Koch, prefect for the Dicastery for Christian Unity, is 75. He made last week an unguarded public call for relaxation of restrictions of the traditional Mass. Cardinal Kirk Koch is also the cardinal who penned a document on a proposal to destroy the papacy and reduce the Pope to a first among equals in the name of bringing Protestants and Orthodox back into communion with Rome, essentially surrendering on the issue of the papacy to the schismatics. I wouldn't be sad to see him go. It's one of the most dangerous documents that the Vatican released under Francis. And now those are the ones that he will have to deal with because these are all retired age. Here are the juicier ones. Cardinal Victor Fernandez, prefect for the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, is nowhere near retirement at the age of 63. We don't need to go over his theological statements that were controversial. You know them already if you pay attention to this kind of content at all. Sister Simona Brambilla, the prefect for the Dicastery for Religious, is the first woman and the first non-bishop ever to serve as Vatican prefect. Some canonists argue that her appointment violated the Church's own canon law, which requires episcopal leadership of Vatican dicasteries. If the Pope does get rid of her, I will be shocked, because the fallout from that, the National Catholic Reporter, American Magazine crowd, or the Women's Ordination Conference crowd, all of them who are all in good standing with Rome to varying degrees these days, will be up in arms. They will not put up with Sister Simona Brambilla and her very James Martin type, we'll say, librarian assistant, who both oversee priests. These are women religious who give orders to priests. It's disordered. It's unnatural. I would be shocked if they got removed. It would cause too much scandal. Even though the people who would be scandalized are all the people whose opinions the Church should not be paying attention to anyway. And then you have Cardinal Mario Gresh, the Secretary General for the Synod of Bishops. He has taken on new prominence during the Synod on Synodality. That office has got a lot of power. I would be shocked if Mario Gresh got canceled either. And of course, the final one is Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State. He's 70 years old, and the reason you want to pay attention to that one is very straightforward. Cardinal Parolin was one of the chief authors of the China deal, the Vatican's deal with that government about the church in that country, creating the Patriotic Association, which is the party's false church, normalizing their bishops, and then turning a blind eye to the underground church, the actual Catholic Church of that country, being crushed by the state. Cardinal Parolin, well, he has signaled that the Vatican deal will continue. In fact, it was renewed recently. This is another one that if it would send a gigantic message, a positive one if Pietro Parolin was removed, because he's been there since Benedict. The problem is it would cause political scandal. So some of these need to be addressed with fortitude and bravery. So if you want to pray for something, for the Pope for something, pray that Pope Leo acts in a courageous manner in defense of the faith, in defense or in alignment with the will of God on these appointments. That should be a prayer for him every night until he makes these appointments. I am curious what you think about all this. So let me know what you have to. So let me know in the comments what you have to say about all this. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. For everybody we spoke about today, the traditional priests who were the subject of the first segment, all the figures that may have been critically talked about, the Roman curial officials and the Pope. Not trying to make you angry at them. Pray for them. As always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.